we need to have people like us and, say, hey, those pulse chain guys aren't bad. So it's good that somebody at least wants to engage with a little bit with us. Now, having said that, should we, necessarily give them the keys to the kingdom or the red carpet? Not necessarily. It's really hard to know. But yeah, we should absolutely be nice to people like Wendy and Ivan and BitBoy and anybody else who's serious that takes a good hard look at us, right? Too often we attack people like relentlessly, especially people that are trying to do cool things for the community. You look at what Richard's talking about. Like Richard was like, "Hey, it would be really nice if we have native stables, right? Like maybe you guys should reach out to Circle or USDT, right?" Was sort of what he said, right? Something like that, right? Like that sounds rational to me. That sounds like a good plan. Thank you, Richard. We should make inroads to those people. Like what XYZ crypto influencer and minor league Hexagon crypto influencer want doesn't really actually push the price up. What pushes the price up is rich guys. Seriously, that's what pushes the price up.
I want to chime in for a second about Ben. I think this is like his whole downfall. Obviously, was because of the whole FTX thing, and he was like blatantly going after quote unquote dem boys, if you guys know what I mean. And if you go after those type of people, there's always consequences. So that's like the whole rise and fall thing. But at least Ben put his money where his mouth was, and I'd say he felt like a man. And I think Richard kind of seen that. So I think this is like his like he's at the bottom, and if he can kind of jump on board with our ecosystem, everybody can see him rise. So it's like another movie of like another influencer that went from the bottom back up just by joining a good community and this and that. That's just my speculation. That's what I think's going on.
And then you look at the Ben situation. It's like, why do we need him? Why do we need him? We don't need him. People
I,
want
I would
him. Why?
say
Because they want to.
no.
They want money. They
He's good
want.
to
They
have
want what he.
around
Bro,
because
I don't
he
think. Why do we
literally.
They
need him?
they
But
they
dude,
grotesquely overvalue his impact on things,
He's a big
right?
risk, in my
But
opinion. He's
That's
a
very
risk.
true.
In my
Now,
opinion,
wait a
he's a
minute.
risk.
I tried to explain it a little while ago, and everybody buffed me up.
I think you guys maybe it's because you're from a younger generation than me. Like you guys are maybe in your early 20s or something. But like you guys seem to think that everything revolves around how many clicks you have and how many followers you have, right? Like it's something to do with your generation. But it's like the thing that actually runs the world is something called the institutions, right? So examples of institutions are things like Harvard or J.P. Morgan or West Point or the United States Marine Corps or whatever, right? It's all these big institutions, these entities, and it's like if you're well respected and well liked and perceived as being useful, you get a lot of money. Basically, you get a lot of attention, right? Boeing, Lockheed Martin, like whatever it is, it's ruled by institutions, and crypto's the
Yeah,
same
but that's
way,
only for debt money,
right?
though. The institutions control the debt
No,
money
no, no,
because, like,
no, no,
I
no, no,
bet you
no,
come here and you're
no,
not
no,
gonna
no.
see anyone from the United States or anyone from what you just said.
No. But like, if you look at crypto, it's run by institutions, right?
Oh, okay.
Like
So you're
the
talking about
Ethereum
crypto.
Foundation
Okay, never
is.
mind.
Yeah. I'm explaining what an institution is, and I'll explain it in crypto. So it's like it's things like Wintermute, Coinbase, Binance, although to a lesser degree
Like
now,
Gemini in a way, like
um,
Gemini with the Vulcan. Yeah, I
Gemini.
understand.
Yeah, like if basically all these people go, yeah, they're legit. Like that's what gets you. What gets you where you're going. If nobody thinks you're legit, then you're kind of like Monero, right? You're almost as old as Bitcoin, but you're worthless. You're almost worthless. You know what I mean? Even though people respect Monero, they don't help them out, right? So we need to be perceived as being legit. We need to be perceived as being, good. And the funny thing is, it's like, having Ben on our side isn't necessarily that useful just because the guy himself is already so compromised. You show up at like for a murder trial, you're on trial for murder, which you didn't commit, and your lawyer's drunk. It's like, it's a bit like that. Like it doesn't look good. You know what I mean? What you want is the person who's like the team that Richard hired. Like former SEC people who are like went to Yale Law School and are really smart and
The dream
they
team.
know what they're doing. The dream team.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
we're gonna kick some.
You don't want.
But let me ask you something. So, like, if Pulsechain does well, I think USDL has a very good potential to make people look at it seriously. But USDL just being on our chain is the problem. Like, if we were to make like even like obviously my dreams are high up, but like if we were to make like another $3 to $4 million pool USDT on Ethereum, we could start getting serious. Like individuals can start getting serious, and then like we could also run. Like I don't know, I don't see why liquid loans can't be available on Ethereum with Wrap Pulse. Like I don't see why we couldn't do it. Maybe there's like a code reason, but like for me, I just see like everything we have on Pulse Chain. If we're a copy of ETH, why don't we have it on ETH? You know?
So I don't know if you have kids. You probably don't.
No,
You're
I'm
young,
32.
but like,
I don't need kids.
okay, you'll get there eventually. But it's like, you know how sometimes, like, like a kid has some like grandiose plan, and you don't want to shut his dreams down. So you're like, yeah, that's great, right? But like, it's not going to really work. Like the kid tries to build like an airplane out of his two wheeler, right? Like putting a couple wings on your two wheeler doesn't, made out of cardboard, doesn't make an airplane, right? I feel like that's a lot of what we have in this community is people that are kind of like 2-year-olds that imagine that they've got an airplane that's going to be airworthy, but in reality, like what they have is a two-wheeler with cardboard wings tied to it with string.
You're starting to
Right?
hurt
Like
my feelings.
maybe a little bit. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to be
I'm just
mean, but like that's a bit how I feel about this.
yeah.
Like we need to find legitimacy however we can find it, and I do think there are paths for that. A big part of it, like the biggest thing, is the Richard actually saying, "Hey, I'm going to fight this. I'm going to win, and I'm going to do it for crypto." Right? Like that. Like that's actually very important. That part, right? Because that's something that anybody in crypto should care about, right? They don't need to care about our coins or T-shares or any of this other, but they should care that Richard's fighting a good fight. So like
And
I think
that's
that's
going to
one example.
bring a lot of attention to the whole space. Yeah.
I
That's
hope
the only
so.
reason.
I hope so.
That's the only
We'll
reason
see.
why I kind of turned around and I came back to the chain was because I seen Richard was willing to die on the sword, and that's like the only reason why I'm gonna play with this EVM. Even
Because I'm really intrigued because not a lot of people can have this conversation with me. But why do you think that the USDL bringing the USDL to Ethereum would be necessarily a bad idea right now?
you're jumping the gun. The chain needs to prove itself first. USDL is like literally, it's just, in my opinion, it's just a meme. And even with liquidity, like you don't need that much liquidity. You put 100 mil into anything, it's just going to get completely nuked by plebs. Like you want these plebs to get like the craziest slippage in their life as soon as possible. You don't want them to exit like easily. You know what I mean? And even like, yeah, it's too new of a protocol in my opinion, and I wouldn't with it.
In reality, when you're actually trying to do something like the big boys, they're literally coming into Wintermute or wherever with $20 million, and they're buying USDT tokens with it, and then they go and they buy their dog coins or whatever they care about. Right? We don't have that. They currently have to go into Ethereum and then go across a bridge. Fortunately, there's no fee now, which is good. But like, it's a big ask. It's a lot of work. You know what I mean? It would be a lot better if you could just buy Pulse on an exchange, buy USDT on an exchange, and withdraw directly to Pulse Chain. And that's where we need to get to. And even Richard thinks so.
I remember when I first started coming into spaces, there were a whole bunch of Hexicans that were just like, "Oh yeah, we don't need onboards. We don't need these people. Like, we don't need you. You can just leave. We're gonna be rich anyways because Richard's just gonna pump our bags." So there's a lot of doublespeak from Richard that like gets kind of put in other
Yeah.
people's head, and it's like, "You want
Well,
onboards? Or you
the
don't
other
want it?
thing
Like, we need to. You got to be
the other thing
clear
I'd
about your
say
position."
about that, the other thing I'd say about that directly execute is that was last cycle, right? And like Richard, so if you notice, Richard's evolved a lot recently, right? So
Yeah, I'm just saying it's weird because I'm still seeing the Hexicans like putting that message out. I'm like, guys, like I see that you need onboards because like I don't care what everybody thinks. Like you guys think the ecosystem's doing good. I've made more money in the past 3 months than any other ecosystem out
sure.
there. It's like I don't know. I don't. To me, it's like it's the last leg standing is this ecosystem. I think everything else is pumped way before us.
I would agree in general, and that's part of what is compelling actually, because like we're kind of mismanaging ourselves to a degree. But yeah, it's exactly right. they look at us and they don't take us seriously, right? And because we don't take ourselves seriously, like unfortunately, certain parts of this community spend more time attacking people that run obscure Aave forks than like actually trying to like figure out how to make things better. Like it's just stupid. You don't need to do it. It's not useful. It's not helping anybody. But we have a very strong community. People are very committed to it, and I'm actually surprised like at how few people we actually lost. Right, like most of these people actually stuck around through all of this.
It down to you why you are incorrect about how to grow. When you do a circle jerk and only stick with your community, you cannot grow. Factually, you cannot 10x your number base by sticking with one community. Those are facts. You have to bring more people in, and sitting in your little group of circle jerks of the same people that you talk to every single day does not work. The reason why I was able to have 3,000 followers before the Pulsechain sacrifice is because I decided to say, hey, I'm going to continue what I'm doing and not be part of your circle jerk. And
And in
therefore, I went from
September, you were being
4,000
attacked by the
followers to
entire
over
community, and I put my honest voice.
75,000 followers. What's next? Every cycle, something changes, but it brings more retail people into crypto. Because if you just stuck with the one little thing, it would dry out and probably die. That's the reason I'm gonna break it to you. I'm sorry you guys gotta hear this, but that's the reason why Pulsechain, I believe Pulsechain was created. Because if you want more people coming into Hex, you needed something else because it was drying out. It's the same thing with crypto adoption. You need something else to get your underlying thing to keep growing. Ethereum, Michael
Now,
Saylor would not have
is
came to Bitcoin if Ethereum didn't get the hype and all this stuff and more people were came in. And now more people are coming into Bitcoin. It's literally just a train of money coming down. And as soon as that freaking train is full with coal, it needs another track, another train to freaking fill up more money and economic energy and going. That has been literally the adoption curve of crypto since 2015. If you don't agree with that, you have no idea what you're talking about in this space.
So B Roots is right. It's literally just anything that's not the U.S. dollar pushes up the price of risk assets. So if people are selling the U.S. dollars for houses, Bitcoin, Pulse Chain, memes, whatever, it all pushes it all as long as they're not going back into the U.S. dollar, it's pushing everything up. So yeah, if we can get, I would trade BitBoy for stable coins or a Binance listing, like in terms of importance. But the community is very weird in that you guys seem to think that the answer to everything is the amount of clicks that you get on a Twitter thing. Like it doesn't really matter. Like what matters is, do the guys that are big have respect for it, and do they want to put their hard-earned Bitcoin and Ethereum into it? And you saw Richard. He did this thing where he did two tweets. He did one to Bitcoin guys and another to Ethereum guys, basically saying, hey, like your thing's big and heavy and it's not going to go up that much, right? Why don't you look at Pulsechain? Like Richard's smart. He understands that those are the guys that have the money. That's who can push things up, right? It was like directed exactly to them, and he did this. I think it was about 10 days ago.
Yeah,
But
but
you can
those are
tell
also the guys that this community will never be able to convince. He's the only one that's
never
able,
able,
like,
never able to what?
convince them. You think our community can convince the Bitcoiners and the Ethereum big boys to come in?
I got some
I mean
Bitcoiners coming last week.
I don't think it's that crazy. It's just like
Yeah, but
these guys understand fundamentally that riskier things go harder in an up
yeah,
market,
but what I'm
right?
what I'm
Like
saying is that
I'm doing the same trade.
you're really gonna get like RH maximalists to convince one of these guys to come in. You need me, you
Oh,
need execute, you need like Redshirt, you need people with experience that talk to these individuals to get them in, because you're not gonna get them in
well, I'm
with
not
wet
saying
cope
I'm not saying
crypto.
we actually have the
With
I'm not
cope
saying we
crypto.
actually have the winning. I'm not saying we actually have the winning formula actually, because I question this every day because like I feel like I'm in a community that goes out of its way to attack people that are actually doing good things, like literally every single day, just attacking people that are trying to do good things and rewarding people that run scams or run paid groups, or who lie. So like I just don't know. Like like, you have to wonder. You know what I mean? Like really rich people, they don't like listening to people who sound uncredible, right? Like they want to listen to smart people that sound reasonable, and that's where they're going to allocate their capital. Like that's the reality. Like there's no safety. right? All my protocols, liquid loans, Pulsex, they're not worth anything unless Pulsechain's worth something. That's just the reality. So we really need to adopt this attitude of do whatever we can to make this community successful. Because if we don't, we're going to really regret it. We have an opportunity right now to do something really cool and to disrupt the crypto space in a way that is pretty cool and will make all of us a lot of money. And if we spend all that time attacking each other because we're a part of this meme coin gang or this protocol gang or whatever, it's really actually self-destructive. And I bring this up every single day, and we're not presenting that yet. And I think Richard has done a complete 180 about almost everything he said to us about this stuff in the last cycle, which in his defense makes a lot of sense because in the last cycle he was promoting an ERC20 token on Ethereum where he was already at the center of the universe, right? Now we're trying to promote an L1. It's a totally different story, right? So I think that's is just something that we need to be honest with each other about. Yeah, we can play this player versus player game, this war of attrition, where maybe I go, oh, I hate Mintra, they're the worst, they're evil, like Gerardo's abs are fake, he got them in with plastic surgery. Maybe we we could play that game with each other, but like that's not actually making any of us rich. So that's the reality, and that's also what's still actually kind of interesting about Pulsechain as an investment. It hasn't quite lived up to its potential yet, but it still can. And there's different forces at work there. But yeah, we do need to get better at being organized and being a better community. Full stop.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think okay, wait. How much more higher do you want to go with Pulsechain? Because I think it's doing super well in my opinion.
Higher means what? Higher in price, higher in
That's what
clicks,
I want.
higher.
That's what I was kind of asking you because it's I think it is living up to the expectations of what it is, in my opinion.
Well, it's living in a way. You're right. It's living up to my expectations to a degree. I never had absurd predictions, right? So like in a way, I think we're doing okay.
I think we're doing
And
super
given
fine.
the circumstances, we're doing all right. Like we had basically Richard in a way, and like I'll just say like I'm going to give Richard the benefit of the doubt on everything, okay? But he's opted basically not to promote, not to do like a big fancy launch. He's opted not to do any of that stuff. He's not done any interviews, and he's got his reasons, and I'm okay with all that, right? And we've had this SEC thing, which has caused people to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and it's cost us, I think, the OKX listing, amongst other things. But it's pretty cool in a sense that, like, look how captured people are in this community. They're still here. Doesn't matter. Like this thing really matters to them. It's a lot like a religion to a degree, and that's actually very important, right? It shows you just how sticky this thing is. A lot of people, and I include myself in this, we've done really well here. We like it here, and we want it to continue, and we want it to be successful, right? Like there's a lot of us like that, right? And it would be a crying shame if we lost it.
Well, even I don't think we can lose it because it just works. I think we could lose the price. It is what it is. But if you think about it,
You can definitely lose it. You can definitely lose it. There's plenty of chains that nobody gives about it anymore.
Well, yeah, either way, but yeah, you're basically supporting the price, right? You are the power that's keeping the pulse price up. So it's
yeah.
cool. And I mean, I want to throw 10, 20 grand in there too, more. Come on. When it's paying out like this, you want to throw in 100 grand. This
I
is
would
nice.
do 100 grand for a month for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I've
That would yield
done,
you. I think last night I checked, if you put 100K in, 30-day would get you like 9 grand or something like that. 10,000 profit, and that's just at the current ink price. That's like if it
I
goes up.
mean, no, just like a week will
Well,
pay off a house's mortgage for a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
2,500 bucks for a week. You know what I mean? That okay, take the risk for a week and pay off your house's payment for the month. Wow.
Damn.
Yeah.
He'll do what it did because he got everybody to lock their shit up, and you can't do that with Pulse yet, at least. So, but it's gonna happen, man. Everything's gonna move no matter what you buy right now. If you just hold it, you're gonna win. It doesn't even matter what it is, probably. Even the scams are gonna go up. You just might get rugged at some point. You just got to get out before they rug it.
So Kenny, let me try to explain to you because it's different when people are looking at things from the founder level and from the investors level, right? So we have to understand that if I am trying to make money, right? If wealth is just my, hey, I want to make money, I'm so like determined. I would have left my coins where they were. I would left all my pos and Pulsex and X where they were. You understand? What Richard Hart is doing, he's played the game. He's made money from Bitcoin. He's made money from Ethereum. You know, right? He made money from the sacrifice. He made money from the adoption of Hex during this period, right? What he's doing right now with his money is basically redistributing those wealth. That's what you got to understand. That's what the blockchain, the cryptocurrency we're doing right now is a transformation of wealth, taken from the fiat currency into the Bitcoin and from the Bitcoin into all altcoins. And that's because when the bridge dial into, when we see all those big bridges coming into, everybody's expecting a pump, right? What happens? The coin goes, he pumps the coins up, and guess what people do? They sell it down. Who are those people? Not him, it's every other person. So it's distribution of wealth. The
Well,
same thing
but what
happening to
about the
me.
ape? Like, so I guess from a trader's perspective, that makes sense to me, right? But like from the
Yeah.
investor's standpoint, it's like you got to account for the APY, right? The yield, right? You got to. It's not necessarily his wealth that he's redistributing. He created something that can reward you for what your proof of stake, right? What you put in
Mm,
it.
mm,
No.
yeah, but the money is coming from somewhere. The money is coming from somewhere. Okay, let me explain to you what I'm saying. That okay, if I have 10 million pos right now, right, and I do a coin and I pay to that coin, it's gonna bleed into that coin. It become 5 million pos, and the coin is gonna
Okay,
have
I got it.
a
Yeah.
5 million value, right? The moment somebody sells that coin, guess where it's gonna come out from? My pulse. You get what I'm saying? So if the whoever is providing liquidity is really the one suffering it, not the sell, not the investors. So it's more riskier for them at the end of the day when there's always a say. If there's going to be a buy, but that's not the case. There's always going to be say, what if your coin goes down? So each time my coin goes down, my good coin, which is the pulse chain, is going to sell into the. You get what I'm
People for no reason. There's strategy
that's
behind it.
yeah, trade mode, that's part of the game. That's what I'm trying to explain to you. And it could surely backfire. You understand? It could surely backfire too. And that's part of the game, really, because
What could
when
backfire? I don't
people
know. What do you mean?
it could backfire that that at the end of the day, if he probably looking at that, okay, maybe I have $1 billion right now that okay is given to me through the sacrifice. Yeah, if I spend half of that billion, you understand, I'm still good. He probably be thinking like that because that's how I think. You understand? I'm still good. It's nothing. But you know what? But in reality, though, when you build something and it works, when you build a well-oiled machine, everybody's gonna come to admire that stuff. You understand what I'm saying? So we could be the top cryptocurrency in the next few years. It all depends on how everything goes. You understand? All these haters that are being hating on us, they could all come in, and guess what's gonna happen? We that were being loyal, playing the game ever since. You understand? We're gonna just reward because they're gonna buy your back, quote unquote. You understand? It's still there's still very many options or factors you have to consider. But at the end of the day, I think you're right. That's what's probably gonna happen.
I
That's
agree.
probably what's gonna
I,
happen.
I agree with you. I just don't. I just think Richard's strategically doing. I just don't think he's just like, hey, here, take this money. Like I don't think that's. I think he's strategically
Yeah, but
doing
let me
stuff. But
ask
I
you a
agree with you
question
though.
though. Do you think we survive without him?
100%. Yes.
You think we'll survive without him?
You said, do I think we could? I think yeah. I think we could.
Yeah. Oh, my
Yeah,
brother,
I think we
I don't
could.
think
I
so.
think it would be a slow. I think it would be a slower climb, but I think
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. It'll be a 15
we would
years. That
definitely. I
15
mean,
years take
look,
is
the code is the look. The code is the
it's
code.
gonna be a long winter.
Pulse chain is
Huh?
superior to Ethereum and everything else. So even without Richard, like
Yeah, it's gonna be a
like
long
Richard could
winter.
die
For
today,
but
and
for
I'm still gonna
now,
be making a lot of money. I'm still gonna be doing what I'm doing. So like whether or
oh
not
heck no,
Richard comes
please.
back on stream or does
I pray
anything
for
doesn't
him
really
every day,
affect
my
my bag.
brother.
So yeah, I think we would be
No,
I
my
think we'd
brother,
be fine without
I
Richard.
pray for him every day. I pray for him every day. May God make him live up to 200 years.